Hello everybody, this is Nelie Diverlus with Vibe Talks Film Festival Edition. Today we are covering TIFF 2021 by highlighting its very first Tanzanian debut feature film, Tug of War. We are in talks with Amil Shivji, the director and esteemed York alumni from our very own city of Toronto. How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing really well. I just wanted to also gauge, how are you feeling about this accomplishment? Because that's big.
Yeah, it's so as you mentioned, I went to York University, so I've spent my time in Toronto, and I know the feeling and the vibrancy of Toronto International Film Festival. I know what it feels like to be an audience member, to be standing in the rush line, hoping to get a ticket, and being so excited about the energy and the films that are playing here. So to be actually on the other side, to have a film playing there, and to see people coming in and watching the film, to use a back entrance to enter the stage, to talk about the movie, the whole experience has been really overwhelming in a good way. And it's just really nice to be able to share my film with people that, have had a very big place in my heart throughout my career.
So for everybody to hear, can we just get a brief overview of the film?
So Tug of War, or in Kiswahili Vuta Nkuvute, is a period drama set in the 1950s about two star-crossed lovers who are trying to find the right time to be together under British colonialism. So love and revolution try to find a way to survive, to breathe, and it escalates as the movie progresses, and we get to meet three characters in my mind: Denge, a young revolutionary fighting for Zanzibar independence; Yasmin, a recent runaway Indian Zanzibari bride who's looking for her own independence as a young woman; and Zanzibar as a character, really meeting the island and the nation at the time, and really feeling its presence and its resilience against colonial oppression.
Again, like you said, it is a period piece. How was it like filming that?
Yeah, it's tricky. we A lot of films are made in Tanzania, a lot of films, but they don't cross borders. It's very much the Nigerian model of straight to DVD or straight to the market. So to be able to make a film at this scale, of this level, required a lot of training, a lot of workshopping, a lot of raising of finance and developing, because I was very adamant about working with Tanzanians or Swahili-speaking people as much as I could. And that meant that being able to lift our people and empower them with the skills and capacity to be able to work on a set like this smoothly. Was it a smooth ride? Some days yes, some days no. We live on an island, we're used to the waves, it's all right. But I think primarily it was really about how do you tell the story and keep it local, but be able to achieve the international standard of filmmaking in order to be able to play at a festival like TIFF. So it was very challenging. Zanzibar is a World Heritage Site, so there's a lot of the infrastructure that's still maintained from the olden days. But I didn't want to make a film that was set primarily in Stone Town. I wanted to make a film that was outside of Stone Town, which is, the everyday livings and the everyday culture of Zanzibar people. Because I wasn't interested in the touristic areas, I was interested in the Zanzibar people. And that meant looking at other places as well. So we worked with a lot of interiors where we could control the production design. And then for the exteriors, we don't have a lot of wide shots, unfortunately, but we did what we could in order to really bring out the culture and the music of that time.
As many of us know, Tug of War was readapted from a novel. Can you speak on the challenges of readapting a novel into a film?
So the novel is written by Adam Shafi, who's in his mid-80s. He's still there, kicking and alive, and very excited about the film. And it was published in the late 90s, but when I spoke to him, he started working on it in the 70s. So when I read the novel, I was reading this amazing piece of literature. Mzee Shafi is a well-known man in Tanzanian and African literature. I was reading this artistic work, very creative and cinematic piece of work, literature, that also represented the politics of the time, right? Both the radical nationalist politics, the anti-colonial politics, anti-imperialist politics, revolutionary politics, but also quite patriarchal politics as well. And that was the biggest struggle I had with the novel. Like, how can I adapt it in today's time without just incorporating a more archaic look at gender relations? So when I started adapting it, I rewrote a lot of elements of the story so that it could feel representative of today's politics, and almost see if we could rewrite Shafi's story in a way that hopefully he would have written in today's time.
And it's interesting that you mentioned rewriting, because that leads to my next question, actually. In contrast, what did you prioritize in preserving to preserve the authenticity of the novel?
It's easy for me to say. I would leave it to the audience to really be the ones to judge. But I think the way Shafi wrote, the words he used, the language he used, is what convinced me that this could be a film. Because if he wrote it in such a descriptive manner and with so much poetry and the rhythm of the novel, the way it develops itself, all I could see were moving images. I could see a film. And I think that for me was really one of the main things that I kept, apart from the obvious like character names and the basic plot, etc. And then I think one of the biggest changes we also made was there's a lot of characters in the novel. It's 277 pages. It's very small handwriting. It's a lot. It's like 10 movies. So I kind of combined a lot of the secondary characters to represent, into a single or two characters, to bring out more the cultural essence of Zanzibar and the people.
Right. And I think it also adds to the intimacy of the film too, which was what stood out to me a lot. So in regards to intimacy as well, within other works of arts, it's often seen as like cliche or, something that's constantly seen. So how did you make this film stand out so much?
Yeah, no, look, it goes without saying, the story in itself is not extremely unique. It's a forbidden love story. It's, set in a progressive time in the 60s. And right now, as you must notice yourself, you'll see that a lot of in the past 2 to 3 years, a lot of films are coming out, especially, Netflix, are these period dramas. I think there's a little bit of a algorithm working, for these kind of films. So it's not like extremely unique idea. But for me, what pulled me was that I haven't seen those stories in Zanzibar. I haven't seen those stories in Swahili. I haven't heard Tarab music, in a film on a big screen. So we made it unique by taking Shafi's amazing writing and putting it in place and working with artists that are fighting tooth and nail for their voices to be heard in contemporary times. And I think that's what made the film contemporary. So I also, just to go back to even your previous question, I try to find a balance between the pacing of the film and its contemplative slow nature, but also with the rhythm and the music and everything else that's happening, so that it feels contemporary. And I never wanted the film to feel like you're looking at the past. Because I think a lot of period films, they disengage you, they remove you from being active with the film because you're looking at the past as something that's happened, and you're in a position of power being in the present. But with this film, I really wanted it to feel contemporary, and the date was just a date.
I think we have time for just one more question. I'd also just wanted to know, how do you wish to continue to honor Tanzania within your future creative endeavors?
That's a tricky. I don't know. I'm gonna keep working, keep making films. I lecture at the University of Dar es Salaam in the Creative Arts Department. I teach film and cinema. We train and do workshops and seminars. We do what we can to contribute to the film industry in Tanzania. I think being honest to our stories has always been crucial in our approach to filmmaking, but also expanding the horizons of filmmaking. I think one of the things that the pandemic did is that it created opportunities to find new ways of creating content. So, we've worked now in animation because you can do it remotely. We've worked in virtual reality. So things are really developing, and I think apart from myself, most creatives on this side of the world in the global south really are a bit sick and tired of seeing things going in the West and waiting for a handout over here. So we just pick up a camera, we're doing what we do best, and we're also leading a new path, a new language of African cinema, a new wave really. And I'm really excited about that because it doesn't have to speak to a Western audience or a Western industry who've been acting as custodians to our culture for a very long time. And it allows us to kind of experiment with new art and the work that we're doing. So that's really for me the contribution, the way I can honor Tanzanian cinema.
Well, I for one am very excited to see the work that you do. Honestly, it was an honor speaking to you. Not only is it an honor to speak to the director of the first Tanzanian debut, but also a fellow York U alumni. Hello, amazing. So thank you for that. For more film festival coverage, visit us at vibe105to.com, as well as on our socials at vibe105to. See you soon.